Hello, and welcome to Beyond the Deal, where we discuss business, entrepreneurship, and commercial real estate. My name is Lacey Labs, and I'm here with my co-host, Laura Martin. In today's episode, we interview Judy Walter, owner of Zimmerman Automotive Tire Pros and the Ultimate Car Wash and Lube LLC. Judy has worked in the automotive industry since 1975 and took over Zimmerman Automotive from her father and uncles. Together, they grew from a small shop with gas pumps and just 2 employees into a thriving company with between 20 and 30 employees and over 20 total service bays. Tune into this episode to hear more about Judy's journey, the business experience that she shares, and what advice she would give to organizations and leaders looking to develop thriving automotive companies. Judy Walter, welcome to Beyond the Deal.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Judy. Great to have you. We're excited to have this conversation. So let's just get started with you telling us a little bit about your background and how you ended up in the automotive industry.
Well, I was born into the industry. My father started a business, automotive business, right behind our house soon after I was born. And if you wanted to see your father back in those days, if you wanted to see a parent that started a business, they worked from 7A to 7P. If it was open, he was there. Mm. So if we wanted to see him, we went to the shop. And it was right in our backyard, basically. I'm from a family of 5 kids. I am the only one that's involved in the business. I don't understand. I don't know why, but you look at everybody's talents, and as I'm a mom and grandma, I look at my kids, and it's like, I can see why I'm the only one. I'm the only one really interested in business. The rest of them were doing other things. I have a sister that's a physician, sister that's a physical therapist, and then a sister that works in a large accounting firm. And then I have a brother. He's retired now, but he worked for the business some, but he just wasn't happy. Yeah. He'd rather work for someone else. Basically, comes down to it. I always liked the shop. I always liked running out. And we were the kids that ran through the shop in bare feet, black. They were black from being dirty. We ran through bare feet. Now they don't even let you walk even through the shop. And the EPA people get screeching scared. But anyway,
safety issues.
Yeah, big safety issues. But I kind of grew up around it. Mm-hmm. I always liked cars. I was the one saying, well, why can't I run the go-kart with those people over there? I know I'm a girl, but I want to run the go-kart too. So
I love it.
I didn't do it as much, but back there in the early 60s, you didn't get a chance. As I got older, I got to do mine. I learned it. I learned to drive on an automatic, but right after that, I was dating somebody at 16, and I wanted to learn to drive a 4-speed. So I burned his clutch out for him, but I did learn to drive it.
Love it.
I did learn to drive it.
So was your shop always where it is located in Mechanicsburg? Is that?
No, where we were doesn't even exist anymore the way it was. It's about where McDonald's is, coming off of Route 15 at 114. They changed. We were at
so close, but
we were at an at-grade crossing there, which was a very dangerous crossing, and off of Route 15, and we were right on the crossing.
It's only a couple hundred feet, though.
Correct.
From where your original house was and the original shop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, but they kind of dug everything down and built stuff up, and so we're just like we tell people, it just doesn't exist anymore.
That's
the way
crazy.
It used to be.
Do you have pictures in your shop?
Yes, we do.
Oh, next time I'm over, I'm going to ask to see that.
I have a lot of pictures. If you go up and down the hall, you'll see all the pictures.
I love that.
The old stuff and the big stuff, and then there's also a picture of the major bus accident that had kindergarten kids in it. That was the catalyst to making them change that intersection, and we were forced to move our shop and our homes.
How long ago was that?
We knew it was coming.
But that was a long time ago?
But it was a long time ago. We moved. The final move was in 75.
Okay.
So, but we knew it was coming even as early as the late 60s. We knew.
So there was a big bus accident?
Yes, it was a kindergarten bus, and it was full of kids just coming down over the hill from the school. So it was full.
Wow.
And it got hit by a tractor trailer and over on the side. Oh. So,
and I remember 15 when I went to Messiah.
Yes.
We used to just run right across 15 out towards Ashcombs. Like that was our trail, and there were hardly any cars. It's so crazy how it's like this major route now.
Yeah, you don't even You don't run. If you go across 15 now, you do have to run because the cars are coming.
Yeah. Oh, and they've got all the guard. You can't even do it.
No,
it's
you can't.
Changed
You can't.
so
You can't.
much.
No,
it's
right.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Different.
Yeah.
But so as I got older, I went away to a private high school, and when I graduated high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So my father said, well, we could use some help in some of the daily accounting and some keeping the shop clean and pumping gas. So I said, good, I'll try that.
So you went away to boarding school?
Yes, I did.
Where'd you go?
I went to Lancaster Mennonite High School.
I didn't know that.
At the time, they had a dormitory for students, so you would go Monday through Friday. You would be there in the dorm, but on weekends you would go home.
Wow.
Or if you were from away out of state, you would go to like a home close by.
Do they still have boarding school?
Yes, they do, but it's mostly international students now. It's
so
not a lot of local students. So anyway, but
We'll learn all kinds of things about you today, I think.
yeah.
So you were about 18. You started working there.
Yes, I started working there at 18. Basically, what I did was what I said. I pumped gas. I cleaned the offices. I did the daily accounting, and back then, gas was bought with cash. Yeah. So you didn't. Credit cards weren't the biggest thing, and you did a few, but. So there was a lot of cash, and so I did the banking, and I went to the bank every day, and that kind of thing. So it just freed my father up, and some of his younger brothers that were working with him to do other things. So I didn't do that, and I also did a lot of light checks. Did a lot of you pump up the brakes and bleed the air out of them. That's something you did back in the 70s and 80s. I'm not sure that all that needs to be done now as much. Yeah. And I opened all the doors when they would want to go in or out if somebody needed help.
Because they weren't electric.
Back then. Yeah. Well, you could have electric doors then, but I think it was very expensive. Yeah. Yeah. Today it's not.
Were you the oldest of the 5 kids?
No, I was not. I was smack in the middle.
But you were the one that went to the business even back then?
Yes, I was. Yes.
So interesting.
And there's one more thing here that makes it interesting. Is my father was the minister of our church, a Mennonite minister. Okay. So here we have a Mennonite minister that was promoting his daughter in business to take his place.
So that's a big deal.
It is a big deal. It was a huge deal at this time. But I think my dad saw the future. He saw things coming, how they were going to be changing, and the automotive industry was changing drastically as well. And you have to look at people's personalities to know if the people coming behind you are looking to be business people or not. And my brother just was not into it at all. So I was kind of not chosen, but I had the talent.
Yeah.
It fit. Mm-hmm. And there's a difference, because if you force someone to do a job, because it's family thing, I think you end up with someone that's very resentful at the end, and they do not excel as much, and they do not go.
It's not healthy.
No, it's not. It's not. Because one of my father had 2 younger brothers that are pretty actually close to my age. See, he's from an old Mennonite family with lots of kids, and my dad was the oldest, and they were the younger. And my one uncle said, I'd have been a plumber if we hadn't been in the automotive business industry. And he's in his 70s now. So, and he's not resentful, but I think he would have chose a different profession than
So it was
automotive.
your dad and his 2 brothers?
Yes.
That started Zimmerman Auto?
Actually, my dad started it, and then when my 2 young uncles were done with high school, they came to help. And he brought after he started it, he brought my grandfather into their father.
And that was in the 60s?
Yes.
Wow. And I remember when you redid it, completely leveled it, rebuilt the new modern place you have now, which is way bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I remember that. I don't know if I was in college at the time or.
The building we are in now is actually our 3rd building.
Oh, it is. Okay.
We had the building at directly on the intersection of 114 and 15. Mm-hmm. Then we moved to. It's considered 2234 South Market Street, was our old building. We moved out of that building and into the building we're in today. We built the building today. We had it designed for us, for the uses that we wanted. Mm-hmm. And we moved into that building in 2000.
Okay.
So it's set up like a dealership,
Yeah.
where there's cars for sale up front, and then there's a quick lube, and then our service department is in the back.
Yeah. You have a nice building there.
Yeah.
Did your dad own all that land? Like,
No, my uncle Laban, would have been an uncle to, actually, he was my great uncle, so it would have been uncle to my dad, owned it. There was a farm right where Dr. Fields is, and my uncle Laban's farm was there. So it was where we lived. Then just up the field there was a farm.
wow.
And that's where it's at it would be, if you were looking for that farm now, it would be at the corner of Kingmakers Drive and Aspen Drive. And then we're just on the next
Wow.
corner.
That's so cool. I love that.
It's very different than it used to be, because they moved some things and changed some things. And
Yeah.
we're actually on the wrong side of we're actually 2234, but we were on the wrong side of the street for an even number, but it really didn't end up mattering because there's not much around us anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah.
So Judy, when you started at 18, like how long after that till you knew like this is what I'm going to do? I'm in it. Like, was it kind of a slower process, or did you know pretty quickly that's what I'm going to do?
I think I didn't grow up learning to have a lot of goals, where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, let's get through today. Let's do what we need to do today to get business done. And so I don't know. It took a while. In 70, I started working in 75 full time. And then in 76, we hired this guy who's now my husband.
So that's how you met?
So that it kind of kept me there.
Yeah.
Interest in, he was a technician at the time. And so,
That's funny.
and so it's, we just, it was kind of like one of those things, let's keep the business moving, let's keep it in the family. Yeah. I'm not sure we knew what we wanted. We hired many, we had a psychologist that was a family business consultant, but he also had a psychology degree, which was very helpful in our case, not always, but in our case it worked because he helped us look at personalities and people and whether they're a business person or not, and this kind of things he helped us with. And then we moved later to some other firms that we used that were looked at, because my father retired in 96, and we had for lack of a better word, coach. He wasn't really a coach, but it was kind of business consultant that worked with us to decide how to move forward and that kind of thing, and help us with some of the structuring you need to do for buyouts and that kind of thing. So my father got out in 96. And then my husband and I bought the business in 22. Okay. At the time, it was myself and my husband and my two uncles that owned it. And my husband and I are now the owners in 22.
From your uncles?
From your uncles, yes.
Yeah, okay. Yes, you guys have been through a lot. Yeah, you were a small shop. You've always been family owned, but you've done these kind of handoffs and transitions and growth all at the same time with the hiring and firing and moving locations. Yeah. That's a lot of things to be doing all at once. Yeah.
It is.
So what is it today?
Today we are basically, if you ask the industry, we're a used car dealer. But basically that's because used cars are the biggest number.
Okay.
But we sell used cars, plus we have a large service shop. We have a 12-bay service shop. We have a 2-bay quick lube, and we have a 4-bay recon center, that kind of thing. And they also help my main shop. And we also handle a fleet of a local university that has like 88, a lot of vehicles.
Wow.
So we handle those, and we handle those in our detail through that way.
Well, I've heard of people saying that they're looking for a certain vehicle or truck, and that you have some salespeople who are really good at finding what people want.
Yes.
Like that's a specialty.
We do, we don't advertise it a lot, but we talk it a lot, we have some vehicles on the lot. We also do some custom buying where somebody will come in and say, hey, I would like a Ford F-150. I want it to be only about this many miles on it, and I want it only to be about 5 years old. I don't want the big engine. I want a little more highway friendly event engine. So you look at those, and I have staff that has been to auction. They know what's there. They know what comes through. They know the pricing. Yeah. So they can do a little research and say, hey, well, you're going to have to up your money because you're not going to get that type of vehicle for this price. Or I think we easily could do this for this price. In fact, we could probably come in lower, that kind of thing. So I have people that can do that. And then we've done some of that, but we do a lot of selling on the street. We also buy cars. You buy cars from auction. They're for dealer auctions, and that's where a lot of cars come from. But with the pandemic and some other things that happened, the industry's changed a lot. We have a lot of people that'll say, hey, my parents are going to quit driving, and we've got this really nice RAV4 or this really nice Lexus that they would like to get rid of. Are you interested? And we'll take a look and say, hey, this is what we could give for it. This is what the market would bear, that kind of thing. And we go from there, and we will purchase the car from them if it fits what we will sell and what they want.
Do you have nice cars on your lot?
Yeah, we tend to, yes.
I drove by the Mannheim Auto Auction yesterday. Oh my gosh, that's every week.
Yes, it is.
There had, I don't know how many thousands of cars are sitting there. I'm like, just the logistics of that. I was thinking that through. Like
the first time we sent somebody to Mannheim, they usually expect. Well, if you've ever been to America's Auto Auction, which is over along the Turnpike, which is at the edge of Mechanicsburg coming out York Street.
You can see it.
You can see it,
yeah.
And it's big, and there's a lot of vehicles. There's probably 3 lanes. 4 lanes selling at once. And it's a huge operation. Wow. Well, if you send them to Mannheim, they usually come back screaming because it's
a lot.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
It is unbelievable to me how many cars are processed through that in a week.
Yeah. I want to say he has 70 lanes, but I may be wrong. I might be off of that, but it's crazy. It's even 20 lanes would be a big number.
Yeah. So you've got
so it's just like, oh.
Yeah. So are they, when they go down, are they looking for specific cars? Or
you always do your research.
Yeah.
They put online what they have coming.
Yeah.
And many times we don't even go to the auction. We bid online.
Oh.
We say this because there are things that there are lots of pictures. You see a lot of things. And you also have what's called an arbitration company that will come in and look at the vehicle and say, hey, this thing's a piece of junk. They didn't show these 3 scratches over here. They didn't show this big dent. And you learn who to buy from and who you
can trust. Yep.
Yeah, you learn who to trust.
Yep.
And so we've just
that's so cool.
Yeah, it is. It's a bigger industry than people think.
Do you have like a flatbed where you go down and pick up all the cars?
Yeah, we do.
You do?
We do.
You have a good property there. You can't really see everything.
We also like, that's one of the reasons why the electric car was kind of nice, having an electric car, because I can load it with 3 guys and send them down. Pick up, bring 3 cars back. I usually don't buy more than 3 a week. So I can go to Mannheim or even to just places in York and that kind of thing and buy cars.
And that's all cash, right? When you buy these cars, you're paying cash?
Well, yes. Or if you pay cash, or if you have a company that does your financing.
Like a bank that specializes.
A line of credit, that kind of thing, they'll do that.
So interesting. And it's big money. I mean,
it is. It's huge money. Even selling cars is just bigger money than most people realize. Because that's what my job is. My job today is I handle the finance from the top. My first thing when I go in the morning, I look at what's paid the night before and what I have coming in that's going to need to be paid today. And make sure that they did pull the monies they were supposed to and didn't double pull something or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's something you have to look at every day.
How many employees do you have?
I have 23 employees right now.
So that's a huge payroll. You got a lot going.
It is. It is a huge payroll. I do not do the payroll. I oversee it, the finance of it from the top. And I have people that do the payroll for me. In-house.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have a payroll company, but I have a person that collects all the things and so on and presents it to the payroll company and that kind of thing. But basically, it's just It's a job that most people do not realize what has to be done. And it can be very lonely because people don't realize everything that has to be done. They drive by on the street and they think that everything that happens in there meets the eye, and it's not true. Yeah. And it's that way, I think, on everything. I won't lie to you. I do help the guys in the shops when I need to. I do believe that it's very important as a leader to let them know when I hire somebody new. I try to get to know them because I think they need to realize that, because you'll get somebody comes in and he thinks he really knows cars, and who's this cocky woman sitting in the office, and doesn't realize that I had my day, that I used to be under the hood. I used to do some things. I never got paid for working on cars, but I did work on my own cars sometimes, but I wouldn't anymore. Why would I do that? I don't have time. Yeah. But I always want that new employee to realize that I've been there. I know how hard your job is. I know what you're working through, and I want to do anything I can help you to make your job easier. And sometimes we'll get really slammed that there will be 8 cars, 10 cars out at the Lube, and the trash can is so full that when they fire the towels that are dirty from washing all the windows, they miss because it hits everything else but the can because it's full. I'll empty it for them. And I think that's part of a leader, when they see that you can help them with the dumb stuff like emptying the trash can so that they can get. Yeah. And I've been known to check air and tires and then leave the caps off, like this tire needs some attention, tell me what it needs. And they'll usually know by looking at the computer what the pressure should be at. And then we go from there.
Well, and that's been a huge change in your industry too, is the evolution of the computers.
Yes.
Like, your check engine light comes on, but that can mean so many things. It can mean your gas cap's loose, or
absolutely, or it can be very, very intricate to the point of a certain sensor having problems, etc.
Do you do everything, or will you send to a specialty, like maybe a transmission or an engine? Or
we will. For transmissions, we will send them to a specialist, yes, because transmissions alone are whole science. They have so many things that you can learn. Doesn't mean that a shop that works with transmissions and does other things isn't good. It's just that what we've chosen to specialize in, and we've chosen to not specialize in transmission repair, have 2 guys that we send our training work to. And many times I will often drive the vehicle there or tow it there and say, we need this fixed, that kind of thing.
Can you work on pretty much any car?
We can. However, there are a lot of manufacturers that want priority on the information to work on the vehicle.
Why am I not surprised?
And they do not want the independent to have that information and if they do, they're going to make them pay for it big time, and they do.
In your fees, yeah.
And just an example, there is a car out there that you actually have to have a scanner to be able to replace the wiper blade. Why? Now, that doesn't make any sense.
Wow.
Or even to check the transmission fluid, you need to put a scanner on it. It doesn't have a dipstick on the tranny.
Oh, my God.
You have to use the scanner.
They're getting tougher. My daughter's in Florida in college, and she has a VW. And you had to buy their proprietary battery that cost more than my Mercedes battery when I replaced it. I was like, it was like $550 on her VW for a stupid battery. Like, that's crazy.
Absolutely. And it's only getting worse. There's legislation in the courts now.
You should talk about that. I was fascinated when I read about you posting that on LinkedIn.
I belong to an association called Auto Care Association. It's not the dealer organization. It's the aftermarket, we consider it. We're working on an initiative called Right to Repair. It's meaning that you have the right to decide that you want to take your car to John's Auto Repair or Susie's Auto Repair.
Or Zimmerman's.
And you don't want to take it to the dealer. And you have that right. If it's not under warranty, you have that right.
Yeah.
The dealership organization, in some cases, would like to tie it up so hard that you won't have that right. It's a monopoly, basically.
So that is an active bill that's...
There's active things, and you would be surprised the money of the organizations that are behind it. That
What's the bill called? Because it's not... short of reading your LinkedIn post, I have never seen it anywhere else.
Federal bill or a state bill?
it's federal. They're both. They're both.
Okay.
It's both, but it's called Right to Repair. I've worked with Scott Perry on it several times.
So the right to repair would protect us as citizens.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it goes past cars. It goes to the John Deere that you see in the field, especially out west where there's bigger farms.
Yeah.
The Volvo, the big Volvo, whatever. High lift, for lack of a better word, the baler, that kind of thing. Is that you don't have to go to the manufacturer to have that repaired.
It's kind of crazy in America where we're supposed to be free that there's so many restrictions on so many things.
Yeah, it's there. You'd be surprised, but it's an initiative that right now it is kind of we're a little quieter with it because when he passed the House and the Senate and the presidency passed, nothing's being done.
Yeah.
So you have in those kind of initiatives, it's going to be this other
end of
things.
January.
Yeah,
the earliest.
Yeah, it'll be
Probably later.
And when we fire back up again, I'll email you the link that you can have.
Yeah, I would love that because I think it's important people know things that really do affect us.
It's really crazy, and we don't need to get into this. But if you really want to get into weeds about it, it gets to the point where your car actually has software that tells somebody somewhere, and they won't tell you where, and they tell you it won't be used by anybody. But you and I both know information that's collected will be sold to somebody somewhere. But they even know how much you weigh. And they even can tell you, back when CDs were in, they could tell you what CD was in the
Stop
thing.
it.
Yeah, it could tell you what CD was in the player. Yeah.
I was impressed. I have a BMW convertible, and my daughter had the car somewhere, and they want to know the mileage and what service. I'm like, I have no idea. She's like, I'm going to ping it. I'm like, really? She was able to ping it and get the information needed. I was like, that's amazing.
She actually probably could ping it herself if she knew how.
That's crazy.
Because I have my Mustang I have an electric Mustang. I can ping it, and I can see where it's at. That's some software that my husband has put on his phone.
But they get you coming and going because my Mercedes is, once it hit, I think 5 years old, I no longer could get the package in my car that I could remotely turn it on and off, open and close windows. Like they just deleted it. Like it wasn't available for purchase anymore. It's like, and then they want you to get a newer car. Well, the cars have gone up so much.
Sure.
What did I see? Like at least 25%? Does that sound right?
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
in some cases, it may have be worse than that. Depends where you start.
It's crazy. So I like to buy a used car and keep it as long as I can until it leaves me sit. Once you leave me sit, I'm done. You're dead to me. Yeah. I hate being left. Well, because I travel a lot.
Well, sure, I can understand that.
I don't want to be stuck somewhere. So, which has happened, but over the years.
So, Judy, I think you spoke to this a little bit, especially internally in your company. But what's it been like to be a woman in a very male-led industry for, especially going back into the 70s and 80s? You've had a long career in a very male-dominated industry.
I think in the past, there was a lot more females involved than we knew about. They were just somebody's wife in the back office, and she never was asked her opinion about anything, even though she might have all kinds of degrees. It didn't matter. Shut up and do what you need to do. I will never forget, in the middle 70s, I went to an automotive conference as an owner with a couple of the guys that went with me, and there was training, and they didn't know what to do with me. They wanted me to go with the wives that went shopping. It's like, okay, if I wanted to go shopping, I could have stayed home and not paid this kind of money to go shopping.
Right. Yeah.
I want to stay for the training. And it was very different. And I think now it's gotten to be, it's more for both genders. And it's not, I have a philosophy that I learned early on, is that men and women are both made by God. They're made very differently. They think differently. They act differently. They respond differently. But we as humans are the one that screwed that up. We're the ones that have made it what it shouldn't be. Yeah. I think that if we had gone with the way it was intended to be, you respect the other person for what they believe and how they believed. And if you've never had the experience, I'm just now reading for a second time. I don't think the first time I read it, it meant anything. Men are from Mars and women are from Venus. Huge difference. And it's like, wow, she said that and he took it one way and she took it another.
So
and
true.
It's just like, ooh.
You're probably laughing your way through that book.
But I'm also thinking, I'm married 46 years and I'm still seeing some of the things that my husband and I fight about.
No, you guys have a great marriage.
Yeah,
what I've observed, you're very blessed.
Yeah, but I still see the things that's like, oh wow, no wonder he's upset about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's not what I meant.
But you're a team. I mean, to be able to work together, that's not easy.
You have to have your own rules. You have to have.
Stay in your lanes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the blood and guts of it. Stay in your lane, and if I'm up on a high horse and it's like, oh, sorry, that's your part, not mine, and he'll do the same thing to me.
Well,
or employees will come to me and say, well, what do you think about this piece of equipment? We don't really like it, but we'd like this one. You're talking to the wrong person. Talk to Jeff about that. But when it comes to anything, the final line, when we go to buy it, then he's coming back to me. But
that's so great.
At this point, it's you're working with. You have to know who you're working with and who you work with on certain things. And I'm not going to say we always do it right.
I've seen you interact on thank deals. I think you do great.
Yeah, so, but I think we do better than the average bear. I'll say it that way.
I mean, it's not easy to work together as a team, and I think you do.
So you guys are together in this like every day. You have been for your whole marriage. That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah, we have been. There was a 2-year period that he took a position of running an automotive organization. Okay, but it didn't work out, and he came back to us.
When you've been involved on the national level with different...
Yes, we're very... In fact, we're involved in the national level with the Auto Care Association especially. Jeff worked with legislative affairs, which is where that right to repair and so on. And then I worked more with working with some of the women that are there because their husband says, why don't you come to this? And it's like, I'm the backwoods, I'm the back office person. And I've also worked, I do mentoring. I belong to, in the same organization, it's called Women in Auto Care. I think they can get a little tied up and go too highfalutin as women that are all corporate and not, but down in the shop level. I had one girl I was working with, she was working with her husband. They ran a towing and a regular shop, and they were looking at a expansion where the shop would be huge and the towing would get big. He ran that. She ran the shop. She couldn't decide if she wanted to be involved. I understand that because it was kind of a crossroads for them, and they made a decision to go through, and it's so neat to watch them. They're so successful go. And then I had another girl I worked with that her parents own the business, and she's still raising kids, and he works from home. So she's trying to decide, what do I do? She was working part-time at the time and so on. And some of hers is out to figure out yet because the kids are still young. Yeah. And I'm also working with a couple of girls that have been they've been in the industry a long time, but they somewhere along the line they lost their soft skills. They needed to go back to some of the soft skills, some of that Mars and Venus stuff that's that we work with and that kind of thing. And so that's been very helpful. Anyway.
Well, I was trying to think where we met, and I think was it the board at New Hope Ministries?
I think so, yes.
And you were the president of that for
Yes, I
several
was.
years. So you
Yes, I
clearly
was.
the heart of helping others on many levels.
Yes, that's very important. It's a Mennonite background as well as it's just been the way we brought up is you do things for other people. And when I look back at the things that make me most happy, I think that's when they are, when I can help someone else. I will never forget the first time he told me at New Hope that that people that live on, we need to work with the kids and not just the adults. And I'm thinking, why? The adults are need the help. Who cares about the kids? Well, the problem is you work with the kids, and it's living on welfare is kind of a learned thing. You bring them up from the kids to the adults, and you different. And welfare is a old term, but you know what I mean.
But it's set that, well, as we both know, it's what a great organization.
Yeah, it is a great organization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've
Changing
worked
their
with-
mental.
It's just
like,
the way they
view
think.
their
The way they
lives.
think. It's like, yes, I know that I could get this check every month, but it might be more fun to do it myself.
Be
That
empowered.
kind of thing. And why? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, and
Yeah, I
that's
love
why.
it.
So anyway,
And you've kids and grandkids.
yes, I do.
So is Jackie's in the business part-time helping you?
She is in the business part time with me. She is our middle child. She's also in EMS. She works for
Wow.
She works for Yellow Beaches EMS. She also
Wow.
does some other things with EMS in Upper Allen.
So she loves that.
She loves it. I mean, it's her passion. It's her. And as a parent, you wonder, okay, which one of my kids will want to take over? My oldest daughter is a teacher at a school, and I don't see her going anywhere because she teaches at a private school, and part of her pay is the kids.
She's happy.
She has 3 of my grandchildren, and so it's happy. And my son lives in Delaware, and he's a business consultant. So I don't see either.
Isn't that
of
interesting?
them taking over.
So Jackie's worked in the business for a long time,
Yes,
but
she
her passion's EMS. The other kids ever work in the business?
Jeremy, who is a business consultant for a period of time, actually helped us, was a consultant with us for a while. And then he moved forward when he went to, he got his MBA. And so he just
great.
moved forward there, and then he moved to Delaware. got
Yeah, you
married,
want them to be happy.
and he has his own kids. So we have 6 grandchildren.
So there's a set of twins. Are
There's a
they in
set of
Delaware?
twins. No, those are the ones they're near Philadelphia.
Philly,
They're the
okay.
ones that their mother works. Our daughter Jessica, this is a set of twins that are
All J's.
Yes, and then her they have a son that's a little bit older than the twins.
It's kind of nice they're not too far away.
No, they're not far away, but and then Jackie's right here in Mechanicsburg, and then Jeremy's in Delaware, so it's not too far away.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's great.
Anyway, but 6 of them.
So Judy, what advice would you give to someone who's either looking to buy an existing shop or start a business in the automotive industry, male, female, doesn't matter? What things would you say are kind of things they should know, insights and wisdom you have from almost 50 years in this business?
Well, the first thing I say is make sure that it's needed. Don't open a shop where there's 10 in town, because you can do things better and smarter. But why? If that's fine, but do you have the money to get you there? Make sure that you understand that it's going to be hard work. You don't just open a shop and you can work 7 to 3 or 7 to noon and just walk away, because it's hard work at the beginning, very hard work, and you have to develop your customer base. You can't buy it from someone. Someone can buy you leads, but they cannot buy the customers. That's your job, and it makes a huge difference to culture the customers, get them to know you and that kind of thing, because it's a relationship business. It really is. And the biggest thing I say about cars is that cars many times will get above the customer's knowledge of vehicles.
Yeah.
They know a certain amount. You get people that know a lot about cars, but you still get that one diagnostic that is really it's kicking our butts, let alone
Sure.
for the customer is just like, okay, I don't get it.
Well, it's a trust factor. If somebody tells me
and
something's wrong with my car, I'm like,
Yeah, it is. And that's the big thing. That's why the relationship's so important, because you get to know the people, so that when I call Steve calls me and says, hey, I'm really sorry, but this is going to need such and such and such. Here's the pictures we have from the DVI, but it's also going to need some diagnostics and this from that problem that you're having. And and if they know Steve, they'll trust him, or they know the Zimmermans, they'll trust them. But if they can't trust them, why would I do that?
Yeah, building your reputation is a really big part.
And you have a nice waiting room, and your staff's
Yes, we do.
nice, and those homemade cookies. I've eaten many of those in my day.
Yes, we have those.
It's a nice touch.
It is.
All right, so we're actually to the point where we're asking our last question for the podcast. Can you believe it? It's been 40 minutes already, which is amazing. But our final question, we ask everybody the same one. I'm curious to hear what you're going to say.
Okay.
Is if you could go back and start your career over, but keep all the knowledge and experience that you have, what would you do differently?
All the knowledge that I have today, I'd find the rich uncle that no, that's not fair. Probably I would just say that make sure that you just cultivate things that are important, the trust, the values, and then if something new comes along, make sure that you're really looking at it and vetting it before you just jump into, hey, we should do that. That'll be cool. Well, it might not. It might be cool for 20 minutes or 10 days or even 2 years, but not for a long term. So it's to know, have the wisdom. And the other thing is hire professionals when you need to. I know lawyers are expensive. I know that that stuff is expensive, but you need to do that. Perhaps it's expensive to have an accountant, but don't assume that you don't need to pay taxes on that. Find out that kind of thing, so that you aren't in trouble. Hire professionals and trust their judgment, and go from there.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
anyway.
Great advice. Well, thank you so much, Judy. Thanks for sharing your
Yes,
story
thank
and your
you.
insights. We really enjoyed having you on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was Judy Walter sharing her insights on business leadership and in the automotive industry. For more information on Judy, Zimmerman Automotive, or to learn more about SVN Latus, click the links in the show notes. Thanks for listening to Beyond the Deal.